one thing that we can be guaranteed of is change. So I think our ability to be able to be responsive to change, but also build things in an agile way that allows us to be responsive, I think is really important.
We're recording this video just a few days out from Iventive's Learning Futures Eindhoven event, which is going to be taking place at the ASML headquarters, and we are really, really excited about that. So we thought we'd invite two very good friends of Iventive on to talk about some of the work that the L&D team are doing at ASML. So we're joined by Chief Learning Officer Laureen Rwatirera and Senior Change Manager for Learning and Knowledge Management, Ronald Plantinga. So thank you and welcome to you both. Thanks for giving us your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to start really by talking about the kind of the big expansion that's taking place at ASML at the moment. I think with the stats I was looking at online, so you've gone from 14,000 workers a few years ago to in the 40,000 now, and we were joking before that the number keeps ticking up even as we speak. So I'm just wondering from the point of view of your L&D team, what role do you play in that expansion, and what are the kind of key things that you have to consider?
Well, Richard, first of all, I mean, if you look at the growth in the workforce, I mean, it's double-digit growth in workforce over the last couple of years. So that means we have a huge amount of new people we need to onboard and bring up to speed as quickly as possible. So for us, time to competence is absolutely crucial for that. So we're working very, very hard with the business to develop learning interventions and programs and processes to reduce the time to competence in all of our domains, pretty much. That's a big one right there. The other thing is by the way, that with this huge growth, we have a number of fine experts in our company, of course, some of whom will be leaving our company at some point in the future because they will retire or find places elsewhere. And it's very important for us also to make sure that we capture that essential knowledge with those people being for the company for so much longer, and to make sure that we instill that knowledge into the rest of the organization. That's also the reason why, contrary to many other corporate universities, actually we are called learning and knowledge management, not learning and development, as most corporate learning functions are called. For us, the two are very, very important.
Yeah, and I think just to build on that, I think as you know, when you join an organization, what really helps you to quickly get up to speed is the quality of your onboarding experience. So looking at that journey from when you join, your onboarding, in other areas of the business, essentially we are diversifying and improving on the product portfolio, which means in some areas you have to reskill and upskill in many different areas. So I think part of supporting the growth of the company is also just making sure that all the journeys that we are creating as a learning function are really supporting our onboarding, the upskilling, the cross-training even between sectors, but also so that we improve the knowledge sharing that happens between people, whether that happens in communities of practice, mentoring, through coaching. All these are different areas that we're also touching on to make sure that all employees that work for ASML have the knowledge and skills that they need to be able to perform in the roles that they hold right now, but also in the roles that they will occupy in the future.
And also, it's not just about bringing them in as well. You've got to keep them there if you're going to keep expanding as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, building on the exciting career opportunities is also part of the growth journey. Making sure that we have that.
Yeah. And maybe to add to that, I mean, we talked about knowledge management. The time it takes for people in any organization, and ASML is no exception to that. The time it takes for people to get to the right expert, to get to the right person, to get to the right bits and pieces of knowledge that they need, and not the outdated stuff, etc., etc. The time that it takes people. I mean, we've seen calculations. It's all lost time and lost energy. So we want to minimize that. We want to make sure that people spend as little time as possible finding their way. So that's a big part of what we try to do as well. The whole concept of that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's keeping the company agile, even as it becomes, a much larger beast to deal with. That's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And I was reflecting as you were speaking that, from the point of view of the learning and development sector as a whole, there's so much innovation and change at the moment. This public awakening to generative AI over the last few months, and all the possibilities that that's going to bring in terms of automated translation and automated responses, and just personalizing that sort of learning process even more. Does it help you to be as a team already in that mindset of managing big change, to have other big changes come along as well, or do you sort of wish these things would happen one at a time?
I
You
think,
want to get Laureen?
yeah, I'm happy to also respond, but I'm curious to also hear your perspective, Ronald. But I think one thing that we can be guaranteed of is change. So I think our ability to be able to be responsive to change, but also build things in an agile way that allows us to be responsive, I think is really important. So whether it's in the technology that we're using, whether it's in the architectures that we put in place, I think it's really important that we build in enough capacity to be able to respond, change, or shift gears if we need to, or even totally make a totally different design decision in areas where we need to. So I love the fact that we have changed. I think it keeps our jobs exciting, but I think it also keeps us learning all the time. Because I really think as a learning professional, one of the key things that's important is we have to drink our own medicine and sure that we are also driving a culture of learning amongst ourselves, so that we're able to reinforce that in organizations, especially with the rate of change that's happening all around us at the same time. Yeah, Ronald, curious to hear your.
Absolutely. No, I'm
Yeah,
very aware of that, and I think we the beauty of this company ASML is also that it's also a company that embraces much of that change, right? I mean, this is a company where people say, when others stop, no more, they take a step. So that's in the DNA of the company. Nothing is impossible, etc. So to thrive on that change and to resolve problems that others may find unresolvable, that's in the DNA. And for us as a learning function, of course,
yeah,
ourselves to accelerate our own impact on the organization and to do so at scale. So whatever solutions we find and whatever routes we take as a learning function, we always need to take into account that these very highly scalable solutions that we can bring across the globe to all of our so that's I mean that takes a completely different perspective.
Yeah, thank you. That's really interesting, and it strikes me, if any organisation needs a senior change manager, it sounds like it's you guys at the moment. So really exciting to hear about that work. And then just thinking about the kind of broader context as well. There was a New York Times article I read that said, and this is from a couple of years ago, that ASML was the most important company you've never heard of. But it feels like that's changed a lot over the last couple of years with chip shortages and the sort of technology race between the US and China that's going on at the moment. And while obviously as an L&D team you're not sort of directing that process, I wonder, are there other things you need to do or are doing as an L&D team that prepares the organization to deal with those sorts of big changes at a leadership level and perhaps further down as well?
well, I think in any context nowadays, I think it's important that we build strong leadership skills at all levels of leadership. The one thing, of course, that comes with growth is the number of leaders that you now have to have in order to manage the teams, essentially, that are joining ASML. So I think our ability to make sure that as we promote leaders, we're giving them the right skills. As we promote those team leaders into group leaders or department managers, that we give them the skills. And of course, as they get into more senior levels, into executive leaders, that we also build the capabilities to ensure that they're able to, just comfortably and confidently step into that additional role and responsibility. So, I think for us, it's very much a key and important focus for us, that we really make sure all our leaders, they feel comfortable in the roles and the positions that they've been promoted into. They have the knowledge, they have skills, they have mentors, and they have access to coaches, as well as, of course, the fantastic development initiatives that we have available for them in order for them to tackle whatever comes their way, internal or external to ASML. I think it's our job to make sure that they are equipped with the skills, and we are focusing hugely on those topics as well.
And that's that coaching theme that you sort of touched on is something we're hearing a lot from a lot of organizations at the moment, about trying to increase the kind of organic coaching that's happening throughout an organization. And Ronald, that sort of comes back to the point you were making about making sure that the right knowledge is available to the right people at the right time. Is that a big part of how you're thinking about it?
It definitely is, Richard, and maybe to link to that. I mean, talking of knowledge and sharing knowledge and key expertise and within the company, for us, we make the strong distinction between the coaching and the mentoring part. And so, coaching is very important, as Laureen just elaborated upon, by the managers, by the leaders, but of course also by certified external coaches, internal coaches for various levels. But mentoring is another one. So mentoring is really about sharing the experiences with others, who are less familiar with how things work here in ASML. So we're stepping up in a very big way in our mentoring programs in ASML. Very, very important for us. And again, the elements of scale and all of that come back to that as well. And by the way, on a side note, about ASML used to be obscure and maybe not so much anymore. When I was in business trip last week, when I entered the US at customs, you always have to say, what company do you work for, and etc. Most of the people were still oblivious to our company name, so we're still relatively obscure for most people. But it is changed.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, we've taken a fair amount of your time already, so we'll stop there. But thank you both so much for giving us your time and sharing some of your experiences. As I mentioned at the start, we're going to be in Eindhoven next week. By the time people are watching this video, we will have already been. But I'm sure I can confidently predict that it was an excellent event, and we all very much enjoyed your hospitality for 2 days. So again, thank you both so much, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you.